Hey gang, Mark Russo here, and today we're going to talk about how your shoulders and torso need to work when you turn in your backswing and on the downswing. I want to give you a better concept of what should happen, because typically when I get my students in, they're going to struggle with how their shoulders are supposed to work relative to the ground, the inclination to the ground. And many of them don't have the proper concept first. So today we're going to give you a much better concept and then a couple of drills and visuals you can do. Again, reinforcing practice either at the range or at home. You can certainly do a lot of this at home and get better. And once you're done today, I think you're going to have a better understanding and you're really going to start to make better compression of the golf ball, because that's what we all love, that feeling, the ball just shooting off the face. It's almost like you don't feel it. We're all striving for that every swing. So first off, let's talk about the issues we see. And I'm going to use the big pool noodle as a great visual. I think it's a great tool. You can certainly use the club, but this just gives a better picture, if you will. So I've got some balls here in an arc, and I'll explain that in one sec. But first off, we get a lot of you who will get into your posture, and when you make your back swings, you'll see the noodle will show you, a lot of you will get, with your shoulders get much flatter to the ground. This noodle gets parallel or close to it to the earth, okay? And typically what you're going to see is good players will actually do the opposite. They will maintain that inclination and their shoulders actually steepen. They don't get flatter, okay? So steeper shoulder turn. That will help you, if we get everything else lined up correctly, start to make better contact. If you're somebody who hits it thin especially, I think you're going to see that a lot of times your shoulders will begin to flatten out and becomes very difficult on the way down. Once they flatten, you will have more of a tendency to tilt and may catch the ground behind it. Certainly you can, but we'll also catch a lot of shots thin and on the bottom of the club. And we never get the ball high enough on the face, into the middle of the face, to really compress that thing and get some energy projecting out to the target. So first thing we're talking about there is the shoulders have a tendency to flatten out. So when you take the noodle, what you're going to do here is set up to a ball, and I'm going to show you how they really should work. You're going to turn in the backswing and make that inclination. And now I've got my back golf ball here. I'm pointing the noodle at that ball. Now, what should happen from here? Well, first you got to practice this for me. A lot of my students get freaked out big time because it feels like your nose is getting more onto the ball and you're closer to the earth. That's okay, all right? So first off, you're going to turn and tilt to the ground more, maintain that inclination. And then what should happen here? Well, I don't want my left shoulder, for a right-handed player, to go up, and now the noodle is pointing out to the right too quickly, okay? So you'll see I have a little arc of golf balls here. What really should happen is, as I point it to the back ball, as I start down and start rotating, my shoulders and torso will just ever so slightly go downward, and now the end of that noodle follows the arc of those golf balls, and then I can rotate, turn, and extend up through the shot. A lot of you are going to, if you flatten them too early, you're going to be here. You can see where the noodle's pointed, okay? And we're never really going to compress the ball the way we want to. So your drill at home for me, you can take 5 balls, make a little arc on the ground, turn and tilt to the rear ball, and as you start down, you're going to go slow, rotate, pushing into that front foot a little bit, down and around, and bring that right shoulder almost back to the trail ball. So we're almost replacing this end of the noodle with the other one. So we're just turning the body a little bit more, feeling like we are down to the ground, pushing down on the ground, rotating, and pushing out of it, okay? Now, some of my students will say, well, wait a minute. How am I supposed to come out of that? How am I not going to hit it fat? Well, first off, I would say, look, you got to practice slowly without a ball. Then what you would do is you work on this at home for me. Then you would take a club, and we say, look, now we're just going to hit some easy ones. We'll start slow. Tilt to the ground and go, okay? So we're going to do that. We're just going to hit one super easy and just feel the motion. And what I felt there was, yeah, it was real slow, but it was right up into the middle of the face, very straight, nice contact. Look, you cannot do everything at full speed if you want to learn it, okay? A lot of times, you're going to have to go slow and put in the work and the time, away from the ball and slow, before you can go full tilt, okay? So my suggestion if you want to learn this is work on your inclination to the ground at home with the noodle, set up your arc, Get in front of a mirror occasionally too. Then when you go to the range, you can practice that a little bit with your driver. You don't have to take your pool noodle with you. And then you go slow. Maintain that. Okay? Now I hit that a little bit fat. Doesn't bother me because I was going slow and I'm going to take that, I'm going to learn from it. Okay? Then once you're good and you feel some slow ones there, then you can intermingle some faster swings. Maybe you do a little rehearsal for me next. Say, okay, I'm going to reinforce. Tilt to the ground, feel a little push. And then when we go, we're going to try and feel that. And make good contact. So we reinforce. So there's your steps for you. Working on your inclination to the ground and how your torso and shoulders need to work. Slow without a ball at home, mirror feedback, slow motion, very slow motion, full swings. Then we get over the ball, intermingle some full speed ones with a good dress rehearsal, if you will, the movement. And then from there, we start going random. Driver, hit an iron over here, or just go play. I think you'll find that if you can practice correctly in the right steps, if you can get your body to be inclined to the ground better, you're really going to see a jump in how your contact feels and really enjoy striking those irons in your driver more. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you on the lesson tee.